Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is BallTalk SportShow, episode 10. The big double digits. We're finally here. Thanks for all of you sticking with us to reach it to episode 10. Hopefully we can get 10, 20, 1,000 more. Who knows? Hopefully we can keep this going forever and ever.
Yeah.
But anyways,
no
we're going to keep it rolling.
Really.
I got my boy here, Nick. He's ready to get in. How we doing, bud?
Doing well, man. Solid weekend. Hung out with the family. Went up to a little log cabin in Brownsburg, Indiana. And it was a nice weekend. Got to see about 20 of my relatives. There's always a story. It's a wild time. A lot of booze drank. So it was fun. So
yeah, dude. We both had family get-togethers. My brother was in from out of town. Obviously, we live in Lafayette, Indiana, and my brother, last year moved to Cincinnati. Actually, it might have been 2 years ago. So, only get to see him like once every month or two. So, and him having my only nephew, and he's like a year and a half old. Mm-hmm. Well, not even a year and a half yet. So. Every time seeing him is great, you know what I'm saying? So, sure. And obviously seeing my brother that I don't get to see very often either. So, yep, it was a good weekend. Other than that, definitely watch some sports. We're going to get into that now. We got some news, some NFL. We had Premier League over the weekend. We had some more NCAA football over the weekend. Nothing crazy in NCAA football, but we have Champs League coming this week. We got a stacked week coming up. We're only going to preview the Champions League. And then obviously the Thursday episode, we'll hopefully be able to get one out to you guys on Thanksgiving, and then
we'll
preview everything
Friday,
else
but
there. Because there's a big week, but I think the only things before then should be the Champions League. So let's get right into it. We got the news. Starting out with some injuries, we had Hunter Renfrow, Eric Ebron, both injured, going to be out a while. Broken rib for Hunter Renfrow. That's a potential season-ending injury, and he's had a really, really bright season for only a rookie. So, I mean, especially as a team that they just lost to the Jets, right? So
bad,
and they're in the playoff hunt. Losing him is it's looking pretty bad for them. At one point
hurts.
we were definitely claiming that they are one of the favorites to get that wild card spot,
right,
with the Bills. But now I'm not really seeing it. I think, between us, the Texans, Titans, the Colts.
We might have been a little.
I just think the Bills already almost locked that spot up because they have such an easy schedule.
Yeah.
So there's only one spot up to grabs. And, obviously the Texans, Colts, or Titans, one of them is going to win the division. And I think the one that doesn't make the division there is getting that other wild card spot. So the Raiders really are going to have to do something crazy, and especially losing somebody like this is going to be tough.
Steelers as well, you got to look out for. What they moved to 6-5 now? Are they over 500 yet?
I think it's 5-6. No, actually, no. They are 6-5. They're the last wild card as it stands right now.
Damn.
And then there's like 3 other 6-5s with the Colts, Titans, and
right.
Whoever else the other one is, I don't remember. But yeah, and then also for the Colts, Eric Ebron injured with the ankle injury. He's put on IR, so he's probably out for the season as well. And he's definitely a red zone target. He's just such a big, imposing tight end. You throw it up to him, guaranteed he's either getting it or it's just not getting caught.
And another guy,
like if you throw it the right way,
yeah,
he's that big of a dude who's going to win that jump battle when it's real physical. And, he can make one-handed catches, too. So we've seen that, and it's just that's a big hit as far as weapons, especially considering T.Y. has been, hurt on and off. We don't know. I don't think he's fully injured or fully healthy. I don't think he's going to be fully healthy the rest of the year. It seems like he's working out that quad every time on the sidelines. So,
this is a pretty similar injury to Renfrow, in my opinion.
As far as the impact to losing them.
Yeah.
They're that either red zone or third down target, that guy that you really need to count on when your other guys are covered up, that can, Renfrow can make some really athletic plays. Ebron's obviously done it too, and he's a tight end to be doing it. So, it's big hit.
He's a mismatch problem. And like you were saying, it's two teams that are in the playoff hunt, so they can't afford these skill guys to go down.
Yeah,
especially this late in the year. It's really crunch time.
Yeah, the wild card spots are obviously very, very going to be very tough to come by here. So we're going to have to find ways to get people open without some of our best weapons. But we'll move on from injuries. Obviously, we just talked about the Steelers. Rudolph got benched for Duck Hodges. I don't know between the two of them who I like better. I don't like either of them. Right. So really, they're just like at this. Obviously they do have a chance to make the playoffs, but their schedule is obviously a lot tougher than somebody like the Bills or whatever. So at this point, I'm just like, dude, can we get Ben Roethlisberger back and maybe we can find another quarterback in the next couple of years to replace him when he's ready to go. But I think at this point, you're like, if you're a Steelers fan, you're definitely like, we're going to keep Ben. And neither of these guys is really the
definitely
guy.
Not. Definitely not either of these guys, but eventually you do have to find a replacement for Ben. The quarterback situation is kind of the reason why I don't favor the Steelers to get the wild card spot. I do think their defense might be the best of the teams in the hunt, but they just can't put up points.
Other than the Bills, I would say the Bills' defense is legit.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason they're winning games.
The
Bills'
I'm kind of
offense is
locking
kind of
the
crap.
Bills in, honestly, at 8-3.
Yeah, same.
In a way, I'm
just because they have
they would have to.
They have like the Dolphins and Jets still, and like maybe another crappy. I don't know, but they have a pretty easy schedule other than like the Patriots and maybe one other team. Yeah. So they have pretty much 3 gimmies. If you win 2 of your 3 gimmies, boom, there's a playoff spot. 10 wins, good to go.
I'm looking at the Steelers' rest of the schedule right now, and they do have the Bills left, but they have the Browns, Cardinals, and Jets still. So they could still have 3 wins on their schedule.
That's the Steelers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would if I'm any of those other wild card teams, I'm looking at that Browns-Steelers game.
Yeah. There's definitely, dude, the Colts don't have a super easy one. We have the Titans, I think, twice still.
Right.
Or maybe just one. I don't know. I don't know if you can pull it up, but
I can.
Anyways, I'm going to cover the last little bit of news real quick. We'll get into the Colts here in just a second. Andy Dalton's back at quarterback for the Bengals. That's not really
okay.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
Or 0-10 or 0-11 now.
They tried the backup, still didn't work. You just have a crap team. They got to get over it. And the other last news
first freaking pick in the draft.
Right.
Pretty much locked up for the Bengals.
Congratulations, you got Joe Burrows.
Yeah. You can't really be too mad.
You ultimately win as long as he's good. The last little news thing, though, Michigan State lost to Virginia Tech today in basketball. Number 3 going down to an unranked Virginia Tech. But
we'll see how
they're
good
normally
they
a tournament team.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's not that surprising, but, number 3, that's big. Very big.
Yeah, and that's Michigan State's second loss of the season, so kind of a shaky start. I mean, obviously, don't hit the panic button.
Right.
So
one of those
early.
losses was Kentucky, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
And it's so early. You can't say anything too crazy.
Yeah, you can't judge a whole lot on that, especially once we get into Big Ten play. There's a lot of solid teams in there. We'll see how consistent they can be there, especially on the road. Big Ten environments a lot of times are very, very hostile. So it's gonna be fun. They're definitely a good team, but seeing them shaky gives me hope for Purdue to still maybe win the Big Ten or something.
Oh, definitely.
We obviously got a big week ahead as well, but I think we're gonna touch mostly on that Thursday.
Yeah, and the Big Ten's gonna be tough. I think we have 3 teams in the top 10 right now, with Ohio State just got ranked 10th. So then Maryland and Michigan State, which we'll see how far Michigan State falls.
It's been a while since Ohio State's been that highly ranked. I feel like
they're really young and
it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm all for having a lot of good Big Ten teams just to make it all
but
look better.
I'm not for Ohio State succeeding in anything. But that's just a different bias. as a Purdue
we'll
fan,
get into Ohio State here in a little bit. We're gonna keep it on the NFL for now.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back to the Colts. Did you get the schedule put up?
Yeah. So you have Titans this Sunday.
Yes, sir.
And that's on
at
the
home.
road? Or?
No, that's at home.
Oh,
I checked, yeah.
At home. And then Buccaneers on the road. Saints on the road. That's a tough one.
Yeah, Saints is tough.
Panthers at home. That needs to be a win.
Yeah. The Panthers suck.
And then at the Jags. And I think
somehow the Panthers give good teams fights, but then suck and lose to other bad teams. They're
a weird team for sure.
I don't think they're making the playoffs, but they still have Christian freaking McCaffrey.
They're very week to week.
And the Colts defense, I don't know. We'll see how the next few weeks go, because obviously the next two should be pretty favorable.
You could win 4 games though. There, Saints could be your
certainly
only loss.
Yeah. And I think at the Superdome, I think we do lose that. If I had to guess, just obviously
being
they
realistic,
looked really good.
Yeah.
But like you said, if we could even win 4 of those, that's 10 wins guaranteed making the playoffs. That could probably win the division. We have this. A 1-1 tie with Houston as far as who beat who this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the tiebreaker goes to who there. We only lost by 3.
We'll see.
So I don't know if it goes by the scores of the games.
I don't know,
but when
we'll
we
definitely
beat them,
see how.
I don't know if it. I don't know what was the score of the first one, because it was probably close as hell too. Can you scroll up? Yeah.
Colts won by 7, 30-23.
There you go. So we got that tiebreaker if that's what it goes to, but I have no clue. Anyways, we can keep moving on past the Colts. I could ramble on all goddamn
I kind of want to look real quick at the Texans' schedule. They still have the Pats.
They have some tough ones.
They have the Titans twice still. Pats, Broncos, Buccaneers. I say they split those.
That
with
right
the Titans.
there is really good for the Colts. Them two playing each other twice.
Right.
So
I bet they
say
split
Houston
those.
beats the Titans twice, and we beat the Titans this week. The Titans there are just written off. We don't got to worry about them. Then we just got to basically worry about the Steelers or something for that wild card.
Yeah,
Even if we don't end up winning that tiebreaker or getting past Houston, just depending on how Houston all shakes out.
enough.
But like you were saying too, Houston still has a tough schedule outside of those Titans games with the Pats and who's the other one? The Ravens, maybe?
No. The other ones were Buccaneers, Broncos.
Okay.
So it's 2 Titans.
So those are not.
Yeah, Broncos, Buccaneers should probably be wins.
The Broncos defense has looked pretty good.
But who knows with the Bucs?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
They could literally put up 45
That's
every
what I'm
week,
saying, and
so.
we're away for that game too. So, I don't know. But anyways, enough of the Colts. Enough of that division. Enough of the AC playoffs. We got to get into just some review of what we just saw over the weekend. Saints, Panthers, very close game. The Panthers almost should have won. They had a chance to take the lead with under 2 minutes left, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a minute 05.
Yeah, a minute. So they miss a field goal.
29-yarder.
And then Drew Brees does his thing, drives him down. They get the field goal,
Will
win
Lutz
it.
Yeah,
Will Lutz is hitting it. I like that guy. He's really, really consistent.
Yeah, I like him too. As a Saints fan, he's a great.
We had a couple weird games this weekend. The Jets Raiders. Jets just pounded the Raiders
34-3.
Yeah, the Raiders didn't
even
get a touchdown.
I think it was that score in the third quarter too.
I think I heard today on a podcast that the Jets have the best run defense in the entire NFL for the season. Does that make sense? It doesn't seem like that would be the case.
It's a pass-heavy league.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just must be that
they just
they're pretty susceptible, right? Exactly.
So
People know to just throw.
It doesn't even matter. Yeah.
Right. But obviously Josh Jacobs has been a really consistent back, and the Raiders have had a pretty good running attack, and they shut him down for the most part. And that was pretty huge for them. It seems like if the Raiders don't have that run game, and if they don't have Hunter Renfrow now too, I definitely am kind of ruling them out already from the playoff race. But I don't know what their schedule is looking like. But still, I just don't have much faith for them going forward.
That Jets team could be interesting in a year or two if they can keep what they have Hearing that
Darnold has been one of the best quarterbacks the last couple weeks. He's been popping off.
And they got Jamal Adams, who
and they got Le'Veon Bell.
Right. Yeah, that team, if their offense could get good, and I didn't know that about their run defense, so that's real interesting.
Right, Jamal Adams, that run defense.
They had maybe a couple more pieces in the secondary.
Right, they've been good the last couple weeks, man.
It could.
So,
yeah. They have decent wins.
They might
They smacked the Raiders. They smacked the Cowboys. They're going
to be the team that crushes somebody's playoff hopes this year. I'm calling it.
Okay.
So whoever they play,
I like that.
Here in a couple weeks,
it might be the fucking Bills.
The Bills
offense
I don't think is very good.
Who knows?
So
that
if they go up against
fraud,
if they go up against a good offense and the Bills can't slow them down enough, I just feel like even the Bills, it's too early to just write them in.
That's a team.
Just because they're not necessarily impressive.
They can't be averaging more than 25 points a game. Not a chance.
Right. No. 25?
Maybe not even 20.
These guys are averaging 12, bro.
Yeah, it's bad. I was going to give them mid-teens.
I think the highest is 27 or something. Maybe they got in the 30s once. But still, they're just the offense isn't there. The defense, though, is very, very stout. It always shows up. Even against the Patriots, it showed up, So I still feel like they will make the playoffs, but you just can't. You can't write them out. And the Jets have looked good, and I'm sure they have to play them at least one more time. So, like I said, don't rule off the Jets as far as them getting big wins and maybe taking people out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm glad we don't have to play them. I'd rather play the Bucs than the Jets right now. I think.
I can see that.
Anyways,
I can see that.
Bills. Speaking of the Bills, they held the Broncos to 3 this week.
Yeah, 20-3.
20-3.
All over them.
Yeah. But nothing much to say there. Obviously, we just talked about them a lot. Yeah, they're 8-3. Obviously, they're looking good to make the playoffs. The Titans blew out the Jags this week. The Titans and Tannehill have low-key looked pretty solid since he's taken over.
Derrick Henry is
and
a freak.
The Jags are basically a write-off now, too, for the division, for playoffs at all.
Yeah.
They've got some good players. DJ Chark made his name this year. And if they keep him and Fournette, and I just don't know what they need to fix.
Their quarterback position is just...
The quarterbacking, I think, is going to get a little better.
A question mark.
It's Foles, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to have... He's kind of still getting used to the team. He barely played with the team.
Yeah, I think Nick Foles is a beast.
I think the offense will get better. But just a couple of years ago, I remember Jags' defense being really good, and they got rid of Jalen Ramsey, and it doesn't seem like it's been as good.
Yeah.
People
were talking about them like the best defense in the league maybe last year.
Right, a year or two ago, literally. Yeah. So it's
obviously not last year. The Rams
they lost the defense and haven't figured the offense out yet. I still don't think they're a bad team. There's a lot worse teams. I would say the Broncos are even worse.
There's tons of bad teams worse than the Jags, but the Jags just don't. Yeah, they got blown out by the Titans this week, and I feel like they're susceptible to being blown out by good teams.
Yeah,
they just don't.
I think, dude, people need to start respecting the AFC South because almost every year, 3 out of these teams are in that playoff hunt, and. Going back,
they just beat up on each other.
Having a home and an away game with these teams, they're good teams. We go in there and they're favored still because we're on the same level almost,
Right.
So it's
no matter what.
Just because we don't have the outstanding records, look at it. We're facing 6 teams minimum out of if the other 3 teams are decent, we got 6 games just there that are all competitive. Mm-hmm. So, I just a lot of times I feel like people talk shit about the AFC South just because maybe that's always the 4th seed or something. But I feel like it's just because compared to the fucking Patriots division who gets the Jets and Bills who besides this year have been absolute dog shit for 10 years.
Well, yeah, and
good for
Dolphins.
them. Good for them. Yeah, and Dolphins. Good for them getting 13 freaking wins every year.
Yeah, it's a joke.
I'm sure the Colts could do that against the same teams.
Yeah, and Yeah, and the Patriots are still going to beat the Bills.
And that home field advantage is crucial. So fuck the Patriots. But anyway, speaking of the Patriots, they beat the Cowboys. Boring ass game. The Patriots offense continues to look shite.
I know, dude. I don't think they beat the Ravens in the playoffs if their offense
I don't
keeps
think
playing
it's
like
even
this.
close. I think it's a repeat game.
The Ravens are nice.
The Ravens
They're
defense
too good.
is going to eat Tom
They're
Brady
so
alive.
good.
And you cannot stop Lamar Jackson. I don't know. I don't think there's an answer for him yet.
I think the Ravens have the most impressive wins of anybody in the NFL right now.
Facts.
Well, the Niners did just beat up on the Packers, which we'll talk about.
Right. That is an impressive win.
But yeah.
Honestly, that's the last thing on the NFL docket here. So we can just tie that in. The 49ers handled the Packers. They only scored, 3? 7? What did the Packers even get? I think Devontae Adams
They might have had
some
I think they had a garbage time touchdown.
Anyways, it was a big spread. They got beat by double digits. It was not really a close game at all. Aaron Rodgers.
37-8.
To 8. Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, because Devontae Adams got the touchdown and the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
You love to see it. I'm still in my fantasy. Tonight, I need Lamar Jackson to go off as well as Jonathan Tucker, their kicker. So we're gonna need a miracle.
Big dub by the Ravens.
We're gonna need a big miracle, folks.
Hey, but dude, I'm telling you that. Okay, so
the Ravens are just good, man. They're one of the most I'm sure that they're gonna be good.
And these two teams, Ravens and Niners, play each other next week at 1 p.m. on Sunday. So that's a game to look forward to. And I think right now these are my favorites to come out of the NFC and AFC to go to the Super Bowl. So that might be
as of right now,
preview.
yes. But I'm going to say something maybe a little bit hot, right quick. I think whoever comes out of whoever takes this loss in the Ravens-Niners game is not making the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I think this is one of those games.
So
It's gonna be hyped up to the point where they are gonna be treating this like the Super Bowl. This is gonna be their statement win. Obviously, the Niners over the Packers is a big win. The big win over the Patriots for the Ravens. But we're looking at this as a potential Super Bowl thing. We're putting it on that level right now because these two teams right now, no question, look better than any other teams in their conference. The Ravens smoked the Patriots, and the Patriots, are the second the best record.
And Texans and Seahawks.
Right.
They have the really impressive wins. But go ahead.
Right, and the Seahawks beat the Niners. You see what I'm saying? So
right, yeah.
That's their Niners' only loss.
At
They
home.
and the Niners have a good win, especially against these Packers here. But it's just one of these two teams, I think, is gonna come out of this and kind of have to, maybe think about they're going to start questioning themselves almost, I feel because I feel like whoever does win is just going to for some reason I don't feel like it's going to be close.
Okay.
Part of me thinks it's going to be just like this Packers game.
Either way.
Right.
I hear you.
To me it's more about which defense can shut down the offense. And obviously we've seen the Niners, they've shut down a lot of good quarterbacks.
Man.
But
that's just going to be the best.
The Ravens have an easier task. The Niners' offense isn't anywhere near as good.
Absolutely.
So I think it a little bit leans Ravens for me right now.
Right.
Obviously it's a little bit early to talk about it, but that game is so huge, and I really do feel like
too early. That might be
whoever
game
takes
of the year,
that loss
really.
could be a little shook. Is what I'm trying.
I think we're already in the hot take saying that Ravens are the AFC favorite with the Pats at 10-2 right now, 10-1.
Right, 10-1.
10-1, yeah. So, but they won the head-to-head, and that's probably the biggest game of the year so far in the AFC. With that, but I do think it's still a hot take because Pats are probably the favorite to get home field.
Right, exactly.
And
the fact that they're almost guaranteed home field just based on their schedule, it just Dolphins, Jets. Figure it the fuck out, please. Start taking games off these assholes.
Yeah.
And maybe give somebody else the home field advantage for once, because nobody wants to play in snowy ass New York or Boston.
Right.
Fucking Boston, man. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, I still think that the Ravens are the best team just based on the fact that
they play outside too,
way more well-rounded,
right out on that East Coast,
Right.
So that
and it's
they're
been
going to be
proven
used
once
to
that
it.
that defense couldn't slow down Lamar. So it's like
We'll see
what's
happens.
getting them through so far has been the defense, and if they can't play defense against him,
I really like the Ravens.
That's Ravens all day.
I really
all day,
like the
easy.
Ravens.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that's going to wrap up the NFL segment. We got NCAA football to talk about next here. Ohio State got a big win over Penn State. That was I feel like their last real test before we get into tournament time for Ohio State. I don't think they have anybody quite as good.
Other than, they'll obviously have to play the Michigan.
Right.
And Michigan's been trending.
They've been looking decent.
So that's next week. Has to be, right? I think next week might be the end of college football regular season.
Rivalry weekend
and then they'll have
is
to
upon
play
us, folks.
either Minnesota or Wisconsin.
Let me pull it out real quick just to make sure with you guys. But yeah, no, Ohio State, Michigan, by the way, might just be a fucking barn burner.
That might be college game day again.
And I think what I'm trying to say is it might be a barn burner. Michigan's actually been doing.
Michigan's at home. It's gonna be a good matchup.
Ann Arbor.
I think they'll move into the top 10 this week.
Right.
Michigan.
That should
They impressively beat IU, who
I
thought IU was a pretty good team, and they handled them. Put up a lot of points, which that's where I'm
39?
Right.
39-14.
39-14. Their defense is always solid. I just feel like their offense is the ones that struggle. So
exactly.
if their offense is clicking,
that's what I was saying with
and they're going to have similar
They've been
athletes.
trending up mainly offensively. Like their defense has always been there, right? Especially the last few years.
Yeah.
But the offense finally is picking it up.
And I feel
finally
like
found a quarterback that can work with the Harbaugh's, system and whatever.
And
this game, I'm telling you, this game's going to have some points. Although Michigan's defense is good, Ohio State's defense is good, I just feel like these offenses have kind of figured out their groove.
And Michigan is one of those teams that can match Ohio State athletically.
Right, they got some big
because they have big recruits. They always have that top 25 recruiting class, top 10 recruiting class. So, I think circle that one coming up. And this was this Ohio State game was 21-0 at one point, and it looked like Ohio State might not give up a score. Their defense was just destroying them. And then a couple fumbles and one good drive by Penn State. It's right back to 17-21, and you're like, oh, shit. I think they had 2 touchdowns in 25 seconds.
Yeah, it happened pretty quickly.
Yeah,
but
so
I feel like they might have just, loosened up a little bit, knowing they were up a bunch. And, obviously, like you said, they made some mistakes.
Yeah.
And, they let
them
back in. Right, they let them back in, but it was still an 11-point win. I feel like when they needed to, Ohio State to me right now is the favorite, just because anytime they need that stop or they need that first down, whatever it is, they've got a lot of poise. And honestly, they've really impressed me with every big test so far.
This was a number 2 versus number 8 matchup, and Ohio State was favored by 20.5 points. That's what's crazy.
They did not cover. They
suck.
Didn't cover. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, but that's a ridiculous spread.
Right.
It's a top 10 matchup.
They're legit.
And this is and people are paying attention, riding them hard. So
right, it's like them and LSU right now.
Yeah,
that are really just
absolutely.
Looking
everyone's favorite almost seems like everyone.
Yep. Wasn't too much else going on.
Oregon lost.
Yeah, Oregon lost. Purdue lost to Wisconsin at Wisconsin. We put up a decent fight.
Yeah.
They took away later, or pulled away. But we still have next week's game against IU. We can still get a big win and be happy with the season moving into next year. Get the guys healthy again. Rondale will be back.
Another great recruiting class.
Right, and David Bell's looked really good without Rondale here. So I mean, we have weapons on offense for next year. So as long as Brom can figure it out, get whoever's going to be the quarterback, get them, in their mindset that I feel like some of the times like we're playing like mind games almost with these guys where we want them to be confident and sling the ball, but then we're also like. I feel like trying to keep them safe.
Giving them mixed signals whether we actually trust them. Is that what you're saying? Like
not even with the trust, but like as far as like what throws he should make he's like second guessing himself a little bit. I feel like, or I guess not the current guy.
It's
but,
whoever I kind of want to get into that. If you had to pick, because we've seen O'Connell's been this kid was decent. A walk on. He looked really good.
Yeah.
So it's really a 3-man race with him, Plummer, and then Sindelar will be back next year. So
see, I like Sindelar, but
7th, 8th year, whatever. Who knows how long that kid's been here?
Sometimes that guy is a little wild with the ball.
Well, that's what I think. They all have upside. They all have downside. And obviously, I think the biggest downside with O'Connell is we haven't seen enough.
Have we seen enough of Plummer either, though?
No, definitely not either.
As of right now, I'm leaning O'Connell over Plummer, though.
Same. As of 2 games, I agree.
Yeah.
And we looked competitive in this game.
Right. Right. O'Connell, I feel like came like both of them were put in the same situation, right? Plummer coming in for Sindelar, O'Connell coming in for Plummer.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're put into a really uncomfortable situation.
I would almost say O'Connell's was a little harder just because, like, Plummer, the fan base knew about him,
Right.
Where we were like, this kid is supposed to be really good.
Right.
Where it was O'Connell was like, who the hell is this guy?
He's a walk-on.
Yeah, he's a walk-on.
Even if he's shit, we know that, like, it's our third string. He's a walk-on.
Yeah, I feel like
our season's already kind of like...
He had nothing to lose. Where it was like Plummer had a little bit of pressure on it.
Exactly. So we kind of have to, like, lean that back towards Plummer a little bit. Just because the circumstances were a little different.
I know what you're saying.
But I still just, on their performances, if that's the kind of thing that's like shaking Plummer, what about 14 down in a big game? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
O'Connell, a lot of the game is mental, and I think he might have a bigger part of that. And it's so hard to judge that. It's super hard to judge that.
He did look pretty poised, though.
Right. For a walk-on,
a gamer.
Starts in a fucking, college football game. It's Purdue is, our fans, and at Wisconsin's a crazy environment. So, I mean, even being able to put 20-plus up against them, I'm fine with that.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, I'm still leaning O'Connell over Plummer, but Sindelar is there, and he's been consistently the one over the last few years that we've gone to first, I feel like.
He's probably the favorite, just because his experience and everything.
Let's hope he can keep both his legs next year, whatever.
I do like him. I think he's mobile. Obviously, we saw Plummer was pretty mobile, too.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty big key, which is why I think Sindelar would be the number one, because as far as throwing the ball, we've seen Sindelar be just as good as what O'Connell's been, right?
Yeah.
It's just maybe where I think Sindelar lacks is just sometimes he makes some mistakes that you're like, how could you even do that? Like, really, some mistakes that are just like, seriously?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. He'll throw into quadruple coverage, which I think, and with these young guys, I write it off more as like they're young. Sindelar is, like I was saying, this is maybe his 6th year if he comes back. So he should be the guy where, like, he's not really making these freshman mistakes.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Young guy mistakes.
We've seen him a lot, and it doesn't seem like he's polished that bit of his game much. So that makes me a little nervous if we're going to trust him again. That's honestly the biggest hole on the offense. It's just like, do we have a quarterback that we're fully throwing our faith into yet. And I don't think
because obviously we have the wide receivers.
We do.
King Daru looks good. Our offensive line is suspect. So I think if our O-line play can step it up, and Brom has said that we have some good guys that were freshmen this year, weren't ready, that like in the next coming years, those are the guys he wants to be playing. So I'll put a little bit of stock into that. I think our offensive line will get better next year. If that happens, and our secondary, those are the 2 points of Purdue right now where I'm like, our secondary looks terrible on the defense.
Yeah, I like our defensive line, though, especially with Karlaftis. He's been really good.
Lorenzo New has not even played this year.
Still?
Yeah, hasn't played.
I didn't realize he's still out.
So I don't know if he might get another year of eligibility.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. As of this year, we just have to look forward to beating IU next week. But our future's bright. I'm not too worried.
Before we wrap up on NCAA, I want to talk a little bit about Oregon, just because they were 6th, right behind Alabama. So, like, if
I think that
that slips up. Utah was 7, which is same conference, Pac-12. So I think they're going to obviously move up to 6. Auburn and Alabama play this weekend. So you could see Utah maybe slipping into that 5-4 conversation, and it's going to be really interesting.
That would be
pretty
crazy.
For it.
Yeah, I'd be all for it too. Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. But I do want to talk Arizona State. Herm Edwards, old Chiefs coach, at the helm.
Practice.
And then I had no idea this, but I'm watching this game. Like I said, it was in Brownsburg. So we're watching this game as a family, and friggin' Marvin Lewis is, I think, defensive coordinator. Was he an offensive or defensive guy? I don't even know. But he is an assistant coach at Arizona State with Herm Edwards.
Nice.
Two NFL former pro head coaches actually,
teamed up.
Yeah, teamed up in the college game.
Yeah.
And they knock off Oregon, who was a former number 6.
There might be a little bit of magic brewing over there, huh?
We gotta look I was just shocked.
But, Oregon sliding down definitely opens the door for, like you said, Utah, and Alabama gives them some cushion, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That kind of a loss, I really think, kind of crushes their hopes to get to that playoff level.
Yeah, it sucks.
But they're still in a good spot to get a good bowl game or whatever. They're definitely going to be there. So not a bad season, but unfortunately I think that does kind of –
And they almost came back. I think they were down like 24-7.
Yeah, I think they were down.
They made it really close at the end, but just didn't have enough.
Yep.
So tough one for Oregon, but like you're saying, if you can lose this game, I don't want you in the playoff. Honestly.
Right.
Yeah, if you can lose to Arizona State, I don't want you in the
Alabama
playoff,
at 5, and their one loss is Georgia.
Right.
Was it LSU, actually?
LSU.
Yeah, not Georgia. But, anyways, a bit, losing to literally like a number 1 team.
And that was the big thing was Georgia was ahead of Alabama, where Alabama's one loss is LSU. Georgia's one loss is South Carolina. And
right.
It's like
a bad one, too.
Yeah, that's kind of like,
That was a bad one,
yeah.
I mean, obviously South Carolina's not bad. They're probably, similar to Arizona State, but
I would say better just because SEC, but
it just depends.
Yeah, similar loss.
But anyways, I think we're going to wrap up
both
the NCAA
like around 500.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up the NCAA football there. We'll move into football, soccer,
across the pond.
We're in the midst of a very successful indoor soccer season right now.
Yeah. The record doesn't matter.
Nick's got a few hat tricks. I've got 0 clean sheets. We're doing pretty great.
A few great saves, though. Don't give yourself...
Every game, I surprise myself with some nice save. But either way, we're going to get into the professionals. The Premier League finally back. The international break had us crying in our beds Saturdays.
And then it's great because, Prim's back, and then we got Champions League tomorrow.
Yep, we're going to get into both here. We're going to start with just the preview of the Prim. We had a Wolves getting a big win. It was not the best game from them, but this is definitely not a team that you just walk in and say, "Oh, we should beat them every time." You know?
Bournemouth
like you had to respect them coming in. Obviously, they can score. They got a goal on you guys, but 2-1 victory. That was pretty huge.
Yeah. So Bournemouth was sitting at, I think, 6th before this game. I actually woke up late, didn't get to see the first half. But I woke up and it was 2-0 Wolves, and apparently we could have had like 5 or 6 that first half. Like we were just dominating them.
Yeah. When it was the Wolves zone, like every time they get into that zone where they're just pressing, they are not letting you get those outlets that give you the possession back.
Yeah,
like you're clearing it, but the Wolves are getting it back quickly still, continuing to play wide, and they're just so good at using their space.
Yeah, then Bournemouth actually get a red card in the first half, go to 10 men, and then kind of put some pressure on us. With 10 men, we were up 2-0.
Right.
We kind of sat back and we were like, content with the lead. They obviously get one back on a corner and that was my huge worry. That's kind of the only way you score with 10 men is on a set piece,
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really matter the numbers. You get a good head on it.
They had another set piece that was actually really close too.
This game was giving me all types of anxiety towards the end. Because it was like, we're up 2-0 at half and up a man. If this goes to a draw, it feels really, really gut-wrenching.
Right.
So
if it wasn't for the 10-men thing, this definitely felt like one of those games where the Wolves are just going to, let the draw happen. They're letting the 2 points slip. There's so many of these games where, they look so much better than the other team at a certain point, and then they just can't seem to sustain it for a whole game at a time. You see it almost every game, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't seem like it's there enough. Obviously earlier on in the season they beat Man City because they did play almost a full game there in that kind of realm. But we really haven't seen too many games like that where they do it the whole time.
Well, it's funny.
But this is holding on to that 3 points is huge, considering they didn't play the full game.
Yeah, and it's funny, we've been beating that drum of I've been expressing my concerns with Wolves all year, where I don't think we're living up to our full potential at times, and we are still sitting at 5th in the Premier League. And we need 1 point in the next 3 games of Europa League to qualify for the knockout stages. So, as much as I have been, pessimistic and,
it's been so good so far, and I mean it's not been it's not even been great.
Right. I haven't thought that the play looked up to par, and the results are still coming where it's we're in 5th.
Right.
We're about to qualify for knockouts. It's not. It's surreal. Almost.
I mean, obviously not a team with a super long history of a lot of success. So you have to gauge what they've done so far a little differently than what you would gauge, Liverpool or something. So for them to be sitting at 5th and to have slipped a few of these games where they got draws instead of wins when they definitely should have won. But, like I said, this type of a win and also that Man City win, those are going to prove huge here, in the next year, I guess. Is about the time it'll start really getting to dwindling down who can actually get to that top 4 and stuff. So, but right now it's a big gap. It's really close there in the middle.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the table is very interesting. That's kind of all I have to say for Wolves. Oh, last thing about Wolves, João Moutinho signs until 2022.
Nice, yeah.
Might have been 2021. Either way.
Love it.
We got him for 2 or 3 more years, and
Keep signing them all.
Yeah,
keep all the Portuguese on your team.
Exactly. Sign more.
It's doing wonders.
We're supposedly targeting dude from Southampton, Portuguese from Southampton too.
Okay.
So
I do believe Southampton had a big game over the weekend against Arsenal. They actually drew against them. It was an Arsenal team that looked really, really shaky for most of the game, and then it got into the later minutes, and they rattled off 2 pretty quickly to tie it up. They were really close to getting the third, but it just didn't happen.
Well, then, dude, Southampton was close to getting the third.
It was pretty back and forth, man. This was almost like a heavyweight boxing fight. Like, Southampton came out swinging hot first. They had, they maybe gassed for a couple rounds, and then they let it slip, and Arsenal took advantage. They got back into it, but Southampton, after getting rocked back, they made a good response, and either team, I felt like, could have definitely – like, it was one of those games where it felt like impending goal is just hanging over the game. Like, one of these 2 teams is going to get a win here. Like, somebody is going to walk out with a goal. It just, like, felt like that kind of pace and just –
Right, and it didn't happen.
Man, what an exciting game either way. Even though the ending, when you ended a tie, that's, like, my least favorite part about the Prem probably. It's just, like, is anybody satisfied with the freaking tie? Especially, like, these Wolves games, man. Like, you just want to see somebody win, and the Wolves so many times are just pushing the shit in on the other team for the last 15 minutes of the game.
If there was some sort of overtime,
50% of the time are they getting the goal because it just keeps you on the edge of your seat, but you're just like, when you're there and you don't get it and there's no overtime, no nothing, you're just like, oh.
Blue balls.
Yeah. And especially if it's like the last game of the day and there's no more soccer on after that, you're just like, God dang
fucking
it.
Draw.
And especially when it's like a good matchup, like,
definitely hear
you. Say it's like 2 really good teams and they end in a tie too. It's like, oh no. But anyways, there's some more big games. Tottenham handled business in their first game with Mourinho. They got the dub.
Yeah, they were up 3-0, ended 3-2. But this at West Ham, and I think this is like the first
their first
win in 300 days. In the Premier League.
I think there's a new energy there. Obviously, they still have some answers, some questions to be answered on defense. They have some holes, I think, but for the most part, obviously they got up 3-0. Maybe they're, just kind of cruising a little bit. It's not too big of a deal you don't want to overstate it here. But they still, when it comes to somebody like Liverpool, I just feel like they're going to be pretty exposed. Like they're going to have to score a lot of goals to keep up with Liverpool. Like, they'd have to win 4-3 or something.
That's kind of their recipe.
But, the last their offense does have some weapons, and they could start clicking with Mourinho at the end.
And they play
it's
again.
It's going to be cool to see how they develop with him.
They play again tomorrow against Olympiacos.
Oh, yeah.
In the Champions League.
We'll get to the Champions League here in just a minute.
You can look forward to
y'all
it.
Ass.
Man City, Chelsea.
Yep. Man City, Chelsea was a great game. Chelsea, did they strike first?
Yeah. So Chelsea really dominated the first 30, 35 minutes-ish.
Yeah.
We're up 1-0. And then Man City, the last, like I was saying, 15 minutes of the first half.
It's almost like a second gear that Man City has.
Oh, for sure. Right when they're it's just like their offense clicks, and then it's like, whoa, this team is crazy. That is.
It's almost like they do this thing where they're like, okay, if all we do is do the fundamentals, the basics, do everything clean, and give it our max effort, boom, we're gonna be able to get opportunities.
They score goals. The most top, they're the most tap-in goals of anybody in the
They're just so clean. They don't take shots that they don't need to. They don't have too many of those guys.
They don't put in a wishing cross ever.
Right.
It's always it's always calculated.
It's just so fundamentally clean, and it's honestly a pleasure freaking watching them, dude.
Yeah.
Just
they're one of the most entertaining teams to watch.
Right. Liverpool's really entertaining just offensively, but just overall, Man City just they play such clean soccer. They just know where to pass the ball. They know when to drop or when to cross or when to. They're really well coached. Is what I would think.
Yeah, Pep is. Yeah, he's really, a genius. Really well
coached. But anyways, also speaking of Liverpool, them and Leicester got some pretty easy W's over the weekend. They had some favorables. Brighton is who Leicester went against, and that was a 2-0 victory.
Yeah,
obviously a team they should beat.
I think it was 0-0 into like
really?
the 65th.
Yeah, I think it was at least into the second half for
sure. So a couple late ones for Leicester. And then that Liverpool game, Crystal Palace had a VAR overruled goal in the first half that would have put them up 1-0.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, and I think it ended 2-1, so it was a little closer than I think Liverpool would have wanted. Definitely.
I thought it was 3-1.
They might have had 3.
Let me go check real quick. But yeah.
Either way, I think it was just a little scare from Palace.
Oh, it was 2-1 actually, yeah.
For sure. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying played them well.
I'm not saying it wasn't like, obviously Crystal Palace especially put up a really good fight. But I just feel like those are games that both those teams came in knowing they should win. So, especially where they're at on the table, you got to keep your spot right now because that top 3, you let anything slip, and especially Liverpool sitting atop, like they can't let.
I think 8 points clear right now too. So it's like, when you're playing with that much of a lead, you can't get a big head.
Exactly. And that's one of those games where, especially if that VAR goal didn't get disallowed, maybe that game is a lot closer, a lot different.
Right.
The vibes, momentum is huge.
Oh, of course. Yeah. If Palace would have taken that lead 1-0, I think it would, definitely would have been a different game.
Yeah. Last game I wanted to touch on here. Man U tied Sheffield.
Yeah, probably the game of the weekend.
Crazy game. Another one of those games where you're like, damn, I didn't. The tie sucks. Unless you're a Man U fan, you're like, thank God we at least got to 2.
Well, shit, that was like
Sheffield just seemed to have. For me, but a lot of the game it looked like they were doing the better attacking. But Man U obviously took care of business. As far as like taking care of their opportunities, but I just felt like overall Sheffield was more dangerous.
So this game it was really until Man United scored, they didn't look like they were going to do anything. Sheffield was up 2-0. I think it was into the 70th. I don't think.
I want to say
it was
Man
like
United
the
72nd and 78th or something like that.
And then I think it was 72nd, 77th, and then 79th. To take the lead 3-2.
Right.
Obviously, I couldn't imagine many of you caught this game. But it came down to literally Sheffield was getting a VAR reviewed goal in like the 90th minute to either tie it 3-3 or it pretty much looked like Man United was going to win 3-2 or even get another one.
Right.
So Sheffield, this was a freaking crazy game because it literally looked like 3 points Sheffield for sure. And then it looked like, oh, no way they're going to be able to get one back now. They just let up 3 goals in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, they end up getting it back. And
it's kind of like the similar story of the Wolves. Like, they look better than the other team at times, and then they just let things slip.
Right. A little off the gas, and the other team takes advantage.
But that's because, similar to the Wolves, Sheffield was just like, the pace they were keeping on them was so tough, which is why they got the goals, right? Because they're just constantly attacking, and eventually those are going to lead to mistakes on the defensive end.
Yeah.
And you are going to get goals, but you kind of have to pace yourselves a little bit, and you can definitely get gassed or just kind of try and take more breaks here and there kind of thing. And
that's the nice thing about being a newly promoted team is, I guess everyone was off an international break this week, so it didn't really matter for fitness. But Sheffield only having to play, just league games, really.
Yep.
They got a whole week off in between games almost every week, where Man United or anybody else who is in a European competition has that midweek game. It's just so different for fitness. But Sheffield, this was a huge draw for Wolves because it actually kept us in 5th. If either team would have won, we would have moved to 6th and they would have moved to 5th.
Really?
Yeah. Because Man United would have had us on goal differential, but Sheffield would have had like one more point than us if they would have won.
Gotcha.
So it was, this draw was literally like, perfect for Wolves to stay in 5th. But Sheffield, really surprising for me this year. I don't think anyone really saw them being top half of the table right around Christmas.
Nope. I don't think anybody expected it coming in anyway. And Man U has continued to look pretty mediocre.
Definitely.
I don't know.
10 minutes of football saved them from a disaster.
Right. I don't know what to think about all of them moving forward. I haven't seen anything from them that looks nearly anywhere dangerous as the other offenses.
Definitely.
And their defense clearly can be exposed.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay, but
But let's move into Champions League. Be the last thing here. Some pretty big games, some really exciting stuff. Obviously matchups we don't get to see anywhere else other than the Champions League. So Real Madrid, PSG Tuesday, along with Juventus Atletico. Those two are both bangers of
Unfortunately,
matchups.
both at 3 p.m., but
we'll have two screens going for that one.
And find the illegal stream for one of them.
Right, gonna happen.
For sure. You got to watch both these, and obviously, the best thing about this is that it's on a freaking Tuesday. Like, just no sports to look forward to as far as America.
Nothing getting in the way of that.
Yeah, and then it's just like, damn, we got these midday, like 3 p.m.
Right.
I got a nice little treat for me.
Right after lunch, you're just like, wait, there's about to be some sick soccer.
Yeah, and then
we also got some games Wednesday. Chelsea, Valencia, which Valencia's they're all tied, right?
Ajax.
Yeah.
Chelsea, Valencia, all tied at 7 points right now. With only a few match days to go, so
obviously you would expect
really, really
Chelsea
tight.
and Ajax at the moment. You expect them two to make it out, but it's so close right now, and there's not a whole lot left.
It's a big weekend.
Whichever one of these two teams wins is like almost writing themselves in, right?
Yeah.
So if you can get the win here, that's huge. If you get a tie, you're almost like throwing it up to chance. Whatever the third team there does,
and then you're relying on that last match,
right?
Or whatever. So.
Right. You're gonna be leaving something up to chance there, and you kind of just like for both of these teams, you have to come in and say, we need this one. This is the most important one we have left. So that game's just going to be, intense. Obviously, you would favor Chelsea. So Chelsea has the dangerous weapons. Obviously, Pulisic is there. He's been looking real good since starting with them, and I'm hyped for this game.
Yeah, and I think that one actually is at 12:55. So you'll have a little break in between that one and then Dortmund, Barcelona.
Yeah, that's probably the big game Wednesday, Barcelona.
3, so
get to see it go.
Again, another pretty tight group. If Dortmund loses this one and Inter can get it done against Prague.
Those are the two groups right now that I think are, unsolved, if you will.
Right, yeah. Yeah, there might be another one we're forgetting, obviously. But these are, like, as far as big names go, all in the same group. Inter has a really, they're kind of banking on Barcelona to win, so they can move up to 7 points tied with Dortmund. And
because we saw recently Dortmund sneaked that one out over Milan.
Right,
so
that
Milan's kind of hoping that Dortmund gets beat up on, doesn't get many points the rest of the way here, and that they can sneak just barely ahead of them.
Yeah.
Because obviously if they tie and Dortmund has that win over them, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that
it comes down to goal differential,
Italy.
But yeah.
Or in Milan, whatever.
Yeah. So those are going to be.
And Milan has
both really, really interesting groups.
Yeah, Milan has the easier matchup here with Prague, who
obviously
gave good games to some of these teams. Barcelona, obviously, they tied, right? So.
Prague has looked like
Prague is not. Prague is not
sure.
somebody we can write off, but. You got to think that if Milan's going to solidify that top 2 spot, they have to win here.
Absolutely. Yeah, because they're either playing Barcelona or Dortmund. They play Barcelona next because they already have played Dortmund twice. So this is the time to get your points, and then just rely on Barcelona to take care of business. Hopefully, you can draw them next match.
Right, I think as it stands, this will be really interesting here. I think Milan is 1 behind Dortmund right now. Is that
3?
They're 3
so they
behind.
need So
okay, so
it's 8-7-4.
If they win this weekend and Dortmund loses, they'll be tied.
And they're only 1 goal off on goal differential. So.
Right. So it's just overall goals.
Yeah, so if they beat Prague...
Yeah, they're going to have to beat Prague impressively and to get that kind of a tiebreaker situation because this could definitely...
Obviously, Dortmund has Prague to still play. So it's like you need to beat Prague worse than Dortmund's going to beat
Dortmund's going
to...
Well, what I'm saying is Milan's going to go in and beat Barcelona? I don't really think so.
No.
They're going to hope to get that tie. If they get that tie, then they have to hope Dortmund ties Prague. Right?
Unless
it's going to be super close.
If Barcelona beats Dortmund this weekend and Inter wins,
then they're tied.
Then I think, they're only tied.
Then they're tied. Like the tiebreaker is going to be so hard, especially going up against Barcelona next, and they have Prague. I feel like Dortmund.
Yeah, it's tough for Milan to get in.
Yeah, I feel like Dortmund is easily getting a point, if not 3, against Prague. Yeah. So. They have to get really fortunate. Milan is obviously the one on the outside looking in right now. But there is a way, and they have looked good. So if they make a good showing against Prague, roll it into Barcelona, feeling good with your season on the line. Champions League season, obviously. But
No, exactly.
It's going to be a good game.
You either win that game or and Barcelona essentially will be qualified. So they might not even play their starters. That could get really interesting. That could be
interesting for sure.
So
Barcelona. That's only going to be the case though if Barcelona wins this week, and they have to win against Dortmund. Then they're safe. Yeah. If they end up tying this, then it's going
to come down to that last match day for all 3 of these teams.
Yeah, because then if Barcelona loses to Milan. Boom! They could be out. Dortmund could be in because they tied them, and then if they beat Prague, it's pretty close. There's a lot of ways it could shape out. You obviously think it's going to be between Dortmund and Milan fighting for that last spot, just because Barcelona is a little bit ahead right now.
Yeah, you imagine Barcelona will take care of business in either one of these last 2 games. So
they need 1 win.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that's all we got for this episode. You got any last topics, anything on your mind?
Nope. We'll see you on Turkey Day, hopefully.
Turkey Day.
Or Black Friday.
Yeah.
So
the episode might go up Friday. We'll see.
When you'll be shopping or when you'll be eating.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll get it out to you. Obviously, like we said, this is a crazy week. There's a lot of different sports going down. Love this time of year. We're having fun recording this podcast for you guys. We've been appreciating all the support. Keep liking and subscribing for us, and we'll keep bringing them to you. Thanks again for listening.
Peace out.
Later.